Well, how's it going today, folks? I'm Braap and welcome back to the Braap Shack. Today we're messing around with a RZR. As far as I can tell, it's somewhere around 2013. I gave it an oil change there yesterday and a quick wash. And we're going to check out one of the issues that this machine has, and we'll take a quick peek at some wiring and probably tune that up a little bit. So let's check it out. So we have a solenoid here, and this solenoid is for the light bar. The problem is the switch, even now with the ignition in the off position, the switch gets its power from right here, which it bypasses the solenoid itself, and it goes to the battery. So the switch always has power. So there's one draw right there. There's also stereo system in here, and that's this wire here with this fuse. I have the fuse taken out right now, but this is this one here, it's not hooked to a solenoid at all. So the stereo is just always on. So I was thinking about hooking up another solenoid for the radio, but then I thought, well, then if you want to listen to the radio without the machine running, you have to have the ignition on, and that just drains the battery even that much quicker. So I think what I'll do is I'll throw in a switch for the stereo system, and then we're gonna take the power from here, we're gonna disconnect it down here at the solenoid, and we're gonna make it pick up power at the ignition from either this orange or this green. Those are both keyed power. And remember, this is a very small draw. It's just enough to kick on the solenoid. So the power that you're picking up from the ignition, that's not actually powering the light. That's just simply power to activate the solenoid, which then in turn connects your LED bar to the battery. Bam-o, let there be light. These switches are junk. Whenever you buy kits and they come with these switches right here, those switches are junk. I hate them. So just as a courtesy, I might do something about that too. So if I'm putting in one switch, I might as well put in two matching ones, right? Takes a couple seconds. So anyway, I guess I'll get you set up somewhere. I don't know where, how you're gonna see very well, but maybe back up here, you can kind of see the work area a little bit. Kinda. The first thing we're gonna do is, I don't like all these wires connected at the battery when you have your starter solenoid right here that is connected directly. The one wire at the battery is good. These grounds here, you know, they can be grounded elsewhere. They can be grounded right here. You know, they don't need to be grounded at the ground. You know, so I think we'll do something about that too. So what we're gonna do, disconnect that. We got a couple things there. We're gonna go to this white wire connected in with this red one. And we are going to make that go away. Oh yeah, remember folks, after you've completed a few tasks, it's always a good idea to disconnect the battery. You know, not before you start or anything like that. You always do a little bit first and then you know, disconnect it afterwards. But like I said, we're gonna route these wires a little safer anyway. That's one of my pet peeves is busy battery posts. I don't like that. There's better, safer ways of doing things, and it doesn't take you much more than a minute. Okay, so now we can slide a red wire, which goes to the light bar. Or no, which goes to the solenoid. Feeds the solenoid. I got my heat shrink just a little too close. It's getting in the way. There we go. Okay, so we've got the trigger. And dealing with one thing at a time here. Here's the wire, comes from the switch, splits into these three little microscopical, tiny little itty bitty wires. Okay. So the white one used to get its feed from the red, and that feed used to come with the blue. When the blue turned on, the black is your ground, and the blue is your trigger, which triggers the solenoid. So we need this white wire to pick up its power somewhere else. Okay, so what we're going to do so we're going to delete this section with the little itty bitty microscopical wires. Okay. And we're going to put a better switch on the end of this guy. going to take 3 of the females, put them on the ends here. These will plug into the switch, and then about, let's see, here we're going to make a little snip to fish out the white wire, which is going to pick up a little bit of power at the ignition. Okay, I gotta run inside and eat, so give me a minute. Well, when I was done eating there, I just, I buttoned up the wiring, because fucking watching wiring is boring as shit. But I'll show you what I did. I got 2 switches. This one here is for the radio. It'll glow blue when it's on. This one here is for the light bar. It'll glow blue when it's on. Both of them will automatically shut off when you shut off the ignition. Or no, sorry. The radio can stay on when the ignition is off, just in case you wanted to use the machine to listen to music. You don't gotta leave the ignition on. But unlike before, you'll know that it's on because you'll have a glowing blue light. For the light bar, it is wired into the ignition as a trigger, so even if you forget your light bar on, as soon as you shut off the ignition, it's going to shut off anyway. I cleaned this up because it was just a rat's nest up in here, so got that all nice and tidied up. And the wire comes right there, goes in behind the panel, pops out right there all nice. This first fuse right here is for the radio. Here's the solenoid for the light bar. There's the 2 grounds so that they don't need to be grounded on the battery. And then the 2 positives, well, the positive for the solenoid and the positive for the radio, they go right there to the positive on the starter solenoid, which is connected directly to the battery. So you got 2 posts on the battery, and as you can see, the battery's not in it, so I haven't even tested this yet to make sure it works, but I have all the confidence in my wiring. I've done tons and tons of wiring. The one issue that I did want to look into was there's a little bit of clunking and chunking and a little bit of noise when you're driving. I heard it a little bit, and the owner had mentioned it to me. I've given all the wheels a shake. All the wheel bearings seem just fine. All the rear CV axles, because it sounded like sound was coming from the back, but sounded like the sound was coming from the back, but the bearings and axles back here are nice and solid. So that leaves me with that drive shaft right there, which goes out to the front. Yeah, she's got a bit of play in her. So, let's see if we can find the other end of it. There's the other end of it. Oh, see it? Yep, that U-joint there is toast. Now, is that one solid shaft all the way? Or is there a carrier in the middle? It's hard to see. How can we get peepers on this thing? Probably the center console. I just want to find out if it's just the one U-joint on the back and the one on the front, or if it's if there's another one in the middle. So let's pop this fucking thing off and let's see. Yeah, she's one solid. Okay, so that U-joint, the front is definitely fucked, the back is on its way. So the front U-joint is fucked. The back one's on its way. So I'm gonna throw the center console back in, throw the battery back in, and then I guess we'll fire this thing up and we'll watch all of my electrical work function flawlessly. Okay? Now that we know there's only the two U-joints, here's the light bar. Oh, we got nothing. Oh, there we go. Okay, so there the light bar is on. Light bar is on. But even if it's on, and you hit the key, she shuts right down. Okay, so that one works. Now let's try this radio. So let's pair the Bluetooth. Now let's see if she works.
Listening to Rex and Randy on Redneck Rockabilly AM 1040. I tell you, it is hotter out there than a Carrie Underwood, Danica Patrick corn dog eating contest. Ain't that right, Randy? I'm sweating harder than Charlie Sheen on a pile of hookers. That boy sure knows how to party. Winning. You bet your ass. And speaking of such, check out this new song by one of Scuzz Twittly. Porn stars, wet bars, driving around in fancy cars, high-price cigars, bags of coke, pass the pipe and take a toke. Strip show, killer blow, $1,500 hoe, double D's bouncing in my face. Let's go nuts and wreck the place. Let's get loaded, let's get mean. I wanna party like Charlie Sheen. I wanna party like Charlie Sheen.
Shut her down. Okay. So, I guess that would mean that the wiring endeavor is a success. Everything's nice and neat. I'm going to toss the seats back in here. Throw this bitch back down on the ground. I checked the diff oils. They're decent. I did pop this airbox cover. It's not so bad. I checked the spark plug. Cleaned it up. It's all dandy. One thing I did do, because this thing was looking like a lowrider coming in, I adjusted all of the shocks up to a stiffer setting, and the tires, these tires are rated for a 16 psi max, and they were all sitting at around 5. So because of the extra weight in the back, I got the backs up to 14, fronts up to 12. Back here it says that 12 and 14 should be for the RZR XP, but you know, what's 2 extra pounds? Because according to this guy, we should be 10 and 12. So instead we're 12 and 14, so 2 extra pounds. Whatever. So I'm going to, I suppose I'll set you guys up somewhere. I'm gonna get this bitch dropped down on the ground, throw the seats in it, and then I don't know, back it out of here, I guess. Oh, there she is. She's not squatting nearly as much. Like, when I first got it here, I had to jack it up just to get to that drain plug. We had to have gained 2 inches here by pumping up the tires and fucking stiffening up the shocks a little bit. So, but that'll be all for this one. Another one done.
And we may see it again if I order these U-joints, and if it's an issue that they want addressed, then we'll see it again. If not, that'll be it. But that's it for this one, and until next time, have a gooder, folks.